sense any, I guess, shift in Darius's mentality from when he got back from the injury and he kind of felt like he just had to fit into the team to, all right, like, it's time to, I am one of the leaders of this team, let's take the reins in that department a little bit.
Yeah, and part of that is on me and on us. You know, when you got a guy out who's on those minute restrictions, like, you just feel like you're in and out of it, you know, and for so much of it, he couldn't even close games. So that's not an easy thing to go through when you're a guy who's used to being one of the guys who's on the floor at the end of games. So I think, you know, his ability to play more, you know, with those minutes restriction being relaxed, you know, will help him feel more comfortable. Like, you know, we were playing him in 4 or 5 minute stretches. Like, that's hard for a guy to find a rhythm and catch his zone when he's just in and out, and then the game ends and he's on the bench just watching. So, again, obviously it was for his safety and his health, but, you know, that's on us that made it, you know, as difficult as it was. And I think you'll see, like, the more he plays, the more confident he'll be, and the more you'll see him being himself.
Your fourth go with this Orlando team now. What have you learned, you know, from those 3 games, and what you see as the biggest key to victory tonight?
I mean, they just don't stop. You know, they're relentless at attacking your paint. They play 48 minutes no matter what the score is. And that's the thing that we have to do, is we have to do a great job of protecting our paint. You know, we fouled them a bunch, you know, in our game, so we can do a better job of defending without fouling. But, you know, it comes down to the possession games. Take care of the ball, rebound the ball, and then get out quickly and see how if you can make them chase you a little bit.
Chris.
Hey, JB.
What's up, Chris?
Is Donovan going to be able to go tonight?
We'll see.
And then, do you believe, this is a 2-part question, do you believe in the concept of peaking going into the postseason?
I mean, I think you want to be playing, you know, your relative best, if that's a thing. But I think as the season progresses, like, you want to just continue to get better. You know, I think there's different circumstances for, you know, veteran teams who have been there and done that and kind of understand, you know, let's get there healthy, you know, let's get a home court, and then they can do whatever they want to do because they have that experience. But, you know, I think for us in the process that we're a part of is, like, we just want to continue to get better day by day. And that's our focus, and hopefully, you know, you're better in April than you are when you started in October.
Are there various things that you're doing behind the scenes as a coach to, like, try and make sure that somehow, some way, you guys are better at the end of the year as opposed to the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I mean, every day, you know, we try our best to teach. You know, we learn schematically as the season goes on what works best for our group, what doesn't work, how we put people in positions to be successful on both sides of the ball. You know, again, finding out your new guys' comfort levels with different coverages, different assignments, different matchups, all those things. So those are all the things that we're kind of putting in our Rolodex. And again, we just try them out as we face different opponents, put them to a test a little bit, see where we fail, see where we succeed, and then make the adjustments from there.
Thank you.
Tom.
Hey, Coach.
What's
First
up?
of all, thanks for entertaining my All-Star game question yesterday. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I got a call from the league because of you.
Did you?
No, I'm joking.
Okay. Hey, as you're managing depth, do you map this out on a game-by-game basis? Obviously, I know there's a lot of variables at play, health and situations and game flow and what have you. But do you do it on a game-to-game or a kind of a couple games situation?
It's game by game. You know, again, you're hopeful that guys are healthy, and then it stays pretty consistent. You know, with guys in and out, you have to move it around a little bit. Some of that will have to do with matchups. You know, if a team's best player runs the whole first quarter, you try to find your best matchups for that guy, you know, for the entirety of that first quarter. You know, if there's a guy who comes out earlier and then comes back, you'll make those adjustments if you want to keep an assignment on those types of guys. But around that, you want to stay pretty consistent, or as consistent as you possibly can. But it is something that we do, you know, pregame. You know, I've got a tool that I use that helps me map it out.
And in terms of when you have a break like this, how do you get guys back into their mental sharpness immediately? Like any break, you know, we're all humans. You get
right.
tendency to kind of let down. How do you get them back to like where they were?
Well, it was fortunate for us that we had a couple of days of practice. You know, to be able to come back, get guys in the gym on Tuesday, just kind of work some of the bugs out, try to get a little bit of the vacation out of all of us, and then come back Wednesday and be able to do some stuff live and get some competition. I think was good for us. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's like when you're in it, you know, we ride a wave of adrenaline, you know, all the way through it. And it's like when there is a break, it's like your body, your mind, everything will just relax. But then again, having those days where you can find that competition, I think we had a good spirited practice yesterday, will hopefully help. But again, it's one of those things that I do think it'll be a ramp up, and I think tonight's game will be a little bit of a ramp up also.
So, going back to the discussion with Chris for a minute, over the last couple of years, for whatever reason, this team hasn't played great after the All-Star break. And I'm wondering if you, as a staff, or you in the front office, had met to try to identify if there was a common theme between those couple.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first year the injuries kicked us in the tail. I mean, you lose Ricky like we did. We lost Jarrett for the majority of the end of the season. We lost Evan for the majority of the end of the season. So I think the injuries kind of kicked us in the tail that first year. Last year you go back and you think about it, and it was, as much as you want to say, it was kind of consistent with the year. Like we had 2, I believe it was, 7-game win streaks. And then after that, we kind of played, just a little bit above 500 basketball, throughout the remainder of the season. So I think for us, identifying the group that we have now, finding the strengths in it, and again, trying to be just who we are and focusing on that. I think we are a deeper team this year. I do think we answered some of the questions or needs that we had from last year. Like we have the ability to score the ball in different ways. Last year, I think, we were, kind of stuck being a pick and roll team. We've been able to diversify that with still being able to be a pretty good defensive team. So, I don't want to jump the gun, but again, we'll focus on the process every single day of, addressing and playing to our strengths, finding that level of competition that we've been playing at and how we've been doing it together, focus on that and continue to try to improve.
And then I think it was about this time last year, you mentioned that you were going to start ramping up your top 6 guys' minutes, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know Evan and Darius are just coming off of minutes restrictions now, but is that the plan to start ramping up those 5 or 6?
Not yet. Just again, you look at, we've got 5 and 7 here, and I think we've got 2 more 5s and 7s in March. And we want to be very, very careful. And I think at this point, we're at a point where we can be very, very careful. We can be calculated in, the games where guys do play more in heavier minutes. But, playing guys back-to-back 38, 40 minutes, it's just not good for the long term, especially when we have the depth that we have. So, we always want to be cautious and try to be as healthy as we can, because I do think, the more fresh you can be physically and mentally going into the playoffs, at the same time, being conditioned to play those heavy minutes, I think it's an advantage for you. And again, I think we have the depth to be able to do that.
Exactly.
Losing Garland and Mobley so early in the season, what did you have to rely on to kind of get through that stretch, and what did this team show you?
Just the togetherness of the group, their commitment to one another, and their ability to adapt. We lost close to 40 points with those 2 guys being out, so we had to figure out a way to manufacture those points and how we're going to play to the guys that we had strength. So I think we found, movement, we found, assists, we found, the game has, how diversified our offense can be, blending pick and roll with catch and shoots and dribble handoffs and those types of things. So we found a diversity to our offense, while also, finding some depth in key players. You think about the guys like Sam who got opportunities, Dean who got more opportunities, Isaac, those guys also showed where they can contribute and how they can help us.
It's no wrap for Coach, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.